I've solved. In fact, I've just written a book about it.
Well, I'm glad that you saw it, but and I'll sit down and do some deep breathing, and maybe we can talk about it again. But you'll have to, unfortunately, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, unfortunately, you'll have to put me in the category of people who do think that you're crazy, and
well,
not crazy across the board.
Listen.
Not crazy across the board. I don't think you're nuts. I don't think you need to be locked up. I'm saying that on this subject, you've had experiences, and I don't doubt that you had experiences. I'll take you at your word for that. The problem is that you cannot tie those experiences to reality. People have hallucinations.
A lot of things, you can't prove a lot of things in reality, but they still exist.
Yes, no.
Yeah.
The things that we can demonstrate in reality are the things that exist. That's it.
And they're the things, and they are, and Pat,
I can't demonstrate air?
No, you can't.
Have you never blown up a balloon?
You can't prove that it's there. You can prove the outcome because we're living.
Pat, you don't have to see it to demonstrate it.
But you have to see God know they exist.
Pat, seeing something is not the only way to demonstrate it. And by the way, we can not only witness the effects of air, but you can see what's in air. And you've never blown up a balloon? That is an actual tactile demonstration that air exists.
Well, have you ever thought about when you walk, when you die, you don't walk anymore, but when your spirit is inside you, you can walk and talk and breathe and do all that stuff? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah. I have thought about that, and what I discovered in thinking and researching that is that medical science understands how it is that our bodies can get up and walk around, and it has nothing to do with invisible spooks.
Well, I brought 2 people out of comas when the doctor said they weren't going to come out because of my understanding of the astral world, because I've astral traveled before.
You have documentation of this?
Why didn't you collect $1 million from the James Randi Educational
James
Foundation?
Randi has $1 million for you if you can prove that any of this crap is true. I've had just about enough of this, Pat. When the moment you can prove that any of this stuff that you're telling us about is actually true and not just the product of your lurid imagination, that's the point when you can write a book about it and not be just ripping people off by selling them your imaginings and calling it real.
Never died on the cross and saved anybody from anything.
Excuse me?
He never died on the cross. Because there's a principle. See, if you understand principles of life,
this is according to your fantasy that you had of seeing the sea.
You can be out of your body and come
what
back.
is wrong with you,
Pat? We're done.
Why?
Because
you're a loon.
You don't want to understand.
Look, we've been very patient with you. We've been very patient with you, Pat, to give us a
single. A lot of time trying to really understand realities. And if you read in Ecclesiastes, it tells you just like it's a principle. Like if you have a baby,
hey, you know what? Captain Kirk asked why God needed a starship. You're done.
Wow.
We just don't want to understand.
We were very, very patient with you, Pat. We gave you all the time in the world to give us a single reason why we should take the stuff you were telling us seriously.
And instead of actually offering or attempting to understand, all you did was jump from, well, I witnessed the crucifixion, and come on now, who's not going to think you're like crazy when you start saying stuff like that? And the only evidence is that you experienced
it. And
then
I actually called her a loon, which, I'll admit, there's a possibility that I'm wrong. There's a possibility that Pat's not a loon, but I'm going with my carefully calculated reaction to the way that she presented herself.
Yeah, there's a very good chance that Pat is accurate and has accurate information, and everything that she experiences is real and maps to reality.
Yeah.
And there's also a chance that the schizophrenics and people who hallucinate are actually seeing a realm that you and I can't actually see, or at least I can't see. I don't know what you can see. But until it's demonstrated, there's no reason for anybody else to believe it.
Right.
And we are actually rationally justified in disregarding your anecdotal, testimonial, personal experiences.
Yeah, and not just us, but I mean, what really got me is she's written a book.
Yeah.
So she is going to take money from other people on the basis of her fantasies.
It may be a free book, a free ebook. We don't know.
Okay.
But if you are taking money for this, you should feel pretty.
You're an irresponsible kook if you're taking money for it.
But that's all right. We'll move on.